everybody. It is you.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to us. You're sitting there and you're going, what the heck? It's Monday and there's an episode out? I thought we were getting before sunrise this week, but here we are sitting here. Well, wait a second. Stop pointing your fingers at us. You're getting before sunrise this week on Friday as normal, but it is our 2-year celebration. So get the candles, DoorDash us some cake, get it over to our home, because this podcast celebrates its 2nd year of totality.
Existing.
We have 2 years on this very day. We released our very first episode on 2008's Iron Man. And that'll always be our first episode, no matter what.
Yep.
And so today, we're celebrating that. We're thanking you guys, the fans.
Yes.
The podcast keeps growing. Every year, it seems to grow quite a bit.
Yeah.
We've had crazy guests. I mean, what emotions are going through your head, Jordan?
I'm very thankful, like you said, but also a little concerned about the series that we picked to do every year on the anniversary.
So do you want to explain, for anyone who did not hear our 1st year anniversary episode?
For our anniversary episodes, we have decided to do the Land Before Time movies because they're very nostalgic and special to us.
Yeah.
And the first one was so great and emotional.
Yes.
And the second one,
And
it felt like, which I think we have said on the podcast before, we almost did Winnie the Pooh series
yes.
at one point, and then we decided not to because it just got to a point where it's like, I mean, we're not really enjoying it, but that's not because it's bad. We're just not kids, and that we don't have kids to like enjoy it vicariously. So it feels weird to criticize a movie.
Well, yeah, I remember, and actually, if you want to listen to those episodes, because we recorded 2 Winnie the Pooh episodes, and you can only listen to those on Patreon. They're the lost episodes. So
This is what I think we should do
what?
instead.
Okay.
I think we should just do our favorite movies that aren't parts of series that we'll never be able to talk about on this podcast.
Okay.
Because they're not part of series.
Let's do that.
And whenever we get to a point, Lord willing, we're around for that long podcast wise, the guests can start picking.
Yeah. Well, they are anniversary episodes. I don't know if we want guests on our anniversary.
Well, we have a lot of favorite movies anyway.
Yeah.
But that's my pitch.
Yeah. Well, and part of the intent was I wanted these to just be a quick little kiss on the cheek for you fans, a little bonus episode that's anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes long, just quick. And I thought, it'd be kind of funny because we do franchises to do Land Before Time. There's 15 movies, so surely we're not going to run out.
But we're never going to be able to talk about The Shining or There'll Be Blood or Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Yeah, I like your idea
or E.T.
better. I like your idea better.
Thank you.
But,
But today we're talking about Land Before Time too. The straight to VHS.
The Great Valley Adventure.
Yeah.
We all know it and we all love it.
Very obviously straight to VHS. Feels lazy, but that they just did not give the people enough time.
Yeah.
/ money to make a movie as good as the first one.
Well, and pretty clearly, like when we started watching it, I thought, if we cover any more of these, it's going to be this exact same feeling where we're just like, I don't like it. It's really boring and it sucks. There's not really much for us to talk about.
I mean, I've seen this movie before when I was a kid. I mean, if you've been around for a year and you listen to the first Land Before Time, we were just loving that movie the whole time and loved talking about it.
Yeah.
But just like with the Pooh Bear stuff, we're not young anymore. And sure, it's nostalgic, but it's also like, I didn't know that this wasn't that good when I was young and watching it.
This isn't a Toy Story situation where there's more to learn as you get older.
Yeah. And that's okay. It's not like bad. I think
I think this movie's bad.
But if a kid enjoys it, it's not ridiculous. It's like, they should just watch Toy Story instead. And it's like,
if a kid enjoys it, they're wrong.
Seriously?
No.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, if it helps at all, one of my 2 notes about the movie is that in 2011, the website Total Film ranked it as 7th among the 50 worst kids movies.
Oh, wow. That's high.
I know. And in 1993, Universal Cartoon Studios announced that a direct-to-video sequel to Land Before Time was in development. A release date was not set at that time. Those are my 2 notes on the movie.
That's great.
So there's no box office.
That's great.
And, it's directed by Roy Allen Smith, who did Beavis and Butthead, Family Guy, Land Before Time 3 and 4. It's written by John Lloyd, New Looney Tunes, Land Before Time 12, 13, 10, and 8, Babes in Toyland, Back to the Future Show, and the Bill and Ted Show.
There's a Back to the Future show?
Yeah, it's animated, and Bill and Ted animated as well.
I did not know that.
Well, you might recognize John Luden, who did Pinky and the Brain, some Mask episodes, or episode
Pinky
of The
was
Mask.
that dog, right?
Yeah.
Weird animation.
The Bill and Ted Show, Back to the Future Show.
Was Bill and Ted also animated?
Yeah.
I had no idea. Where did these air on?
I don't know.
I feel like Bill and Ted would be a Cartoon Network show. Back to the Future, it feels like it could be Nickelodeon, but I'm going to say Cartoon Network as well.
Well, I believe both of those shows came out before those networks
I'm just trying to
really
think
around.
of which network they would be on. None of them are Disney, obviously. When I was a kid, it all mattered. All that mattered to me was Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, and Disney, and they all had their own shows that made sense to their network.
That's true. I liked Cartoon Network the most.
I could watch pretty much anything on Disney and Nickelodeon, but not everything on Cartoon Network because there's some crude stuff.
Like
according to
wise, yeah.
Yeah, like we couldn't watch Ed, Edd and Eddy. We watched it anyway.
Yeah.
And Cat and Dog really freaked me out, but it was like I couldn't look away. Also, same as the Cowardly Dog.
Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Also like kind of freaked me out, but I also watched it.
Yeah.
And then we especially couldn't watch Adult Swim when it became Adult Swim,
right.
Because that's when anime was on, and I couldn't watch anime
right
for a long time because Pokemons are demons. Even though Pokemon was just not Adult Swim, it was whatever.
Yeah,
but I love Cartoon Network. It was so good. But
and they did a lot of Scooby Doo reruns when I was a kid.
Was my favorite.
Yeah,
that's always been my favorite. Rugrats, another big favorite. Very weird that they're redoing the show. To me, just come up with something new.
Yeah,
is how I feel. But also whatever.
They should do Rugrats live action.
Okay.
With what's his name? Jacob Tremblay as all the parts. The one-man show. Jacob Tremblay is the Rugrats.
He's got it in him.
But the music's by Michael Favreau, who did Star Wars Resistance, the Guardians of the Galaxy animated show, Land Before Time, 14, and some Tom and Jerry stuff. And this came out 1 year and 1 day after I was born.
Congratulations.
So,
big day for you.
I think we've covered the movie, right?
Pretty much. I didn't even look up actors because I don't care. And I'm just going to say it.
Yeah.
The movie is all your favorite characters from the last one. And they're all buds now. There's still tension because Sarah is a very mean person.
Uh-huh.
Or dinosaur, I guess. And everyone falls into peer pressure, especially Littlefoot.
Mm-hmm.
And they get into some bad situations. And along the way, they find a sharp tooth egg dinosaur, which is a T-Rex named Chomper.
And then they get into more dangerous hijinks. Were too long, you got your wish to come true.
Has anyone ever said that?
No, but actually we've been told they're too short by someone.
Right on.
But that was before we got a little longer.
Oh, okay.
But, they learned that they need to cherish being young.
Yeah, this felt like like it was teaching teen pregnancy. Like all the kids find this egg and they want to raise this little Chomper. And
to prove that they're not little
kids anymore, but they're learning parenting stuff, and Littlefoot's asking his grandparents basically how to parent.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're 5 years old. It was just kind of funny. It felt like they were all teens and they all got pregnant.
Yeah. And then the songs were really bad.
Oh, they were awful.
They were really bad.
It was okay. So here's a question.
My favorite was the egg song. So the
Yeah.
Velociraptor, and just look up Velociraptor egg song, because
But it's
that
still
song
really bad.
It's so bad.
But so when there's like a cartoon, child voices, and then there's music in it, do they usually have the kids sing, or do they sometimes get other kids to sing? Because this felt like they casted kids as fast as humanly possible, and none of them were good at singing,
Well,
even a little bit.
They're probably the adults, like, who were in the previous movie, right?
You think so? Because they all sounded a lot like kids, though, to me.
Keep talking.
But it was just wild because the songs were just terrible too, but the singing was so bad.
I mean, well, I can't tell if these pictures are the people really old or, well, this guy was born in 1981, so yeah, I guess they would have been kids, yeah, at least some of them.
Well, it's like they got no vocal lessons for singing for this. They just had them sing.
I mean, it's bad. It's very
It's
bad.
really bad.
We kind of, because this is our anniversary show, so we're celebrating the show, and we learned that the movie franchise is not something we're interested in talking about, so maybe we just talk about our show, right? And the celebration of what this is.
Okay, fine.
Is that okay?
Big fail. Don't worry, guys. We're not ending. This isn't ending us. But
No. We're just figuring out a new concept. Well, we already agreed upon a new concept for the anniversary episodes. But here's the deal. When we do a show, I spend anywhere from like a half hour to 3 or 4 hours researching that movie that we're covering. Just kind of depends on how much stuff is out there for the film. We'll watch the movie, and when we're doing it, I always have my phone with me. I'm taking notes, and we put a lot of time into each episode we do.
I will have to say it's mostly you, but yes.
Yeah, but then we record the episode. That usually takes hour and a half to 2 hours, just setting up, tearing down, all that stuff. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, I'm setting a scene here. Then I'll edit the episode, then I upload it. So each episode, if you include the movie runtime, we're talking anywhere from like 5 to 10 hours of work an episode.
Okay.
Does that seem?
Yeah.
Maybe that's a little high, but
We want you to feel sorry for us. So it's going to be on the high end.
I love it. I love
kidding.
it. But this episode, I researched it for about 15 minutes, maybe.
Because pretty immediately it's like there's nothing on this.
There's
movie.
nothing on this movie. And then when we were watching it, before we pressed play, I just had that feeling, and I was like, Jordan, you think it's fine if I don't take notes? And she said, yeah, I think it's fine. And then as we were watching it, we were like playing with our cat and stuff the whole time. We weren't really even watching it. And we're never like that. Even if we hate it, like, see Terminator Genesis episode.
Yeah.
We hated every second of that movie, but we had to for you guys.
Yep.
And it's fascinating. I just feel like sometimes there's certain franchises that, one, it goes direct to video. So their whole, like, the amount of quality goes down.
Yeah.
That's just factual. I'm not saying like the artists and people who aren't working it are not talented.
No.
It seems like this is the cards they were dealt. And then they were like, let's shoot for like a 5-year-old audience. Not a 27-year-old. And I'm mad at them for that. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, anyway, that was that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But let's talk about this show. This last year, we had some pretty wild accomplishments, I would say.
Okay.
We had Ilram Choi on it. Stuntman and someone who's played Spider-Man.
Yeah.
We had Amy Johnston, stuntwoman, and someone who's played Black Widow in the movies. Okay? Crazy. In addition to that, we've had friends and family on who were awesome. But we also had someone on the show, Marco Trentini, who actually he talked about the movie we were talking about and was the art director of the movie Hannibal. That is crazy. Because
Yeah.
when we started this, I thought, how cool would it be if we ever got someone on the podcast who actually was a part of the movie we were covering?
Yeah.
And we've done that.
Yeah.
Check. Bing. We've also had Kevin and Will Hines. And we're huge fans of Will Hines. Now I'm a huge fan of Kevin Hines because
Because Micah has not stopped listening to Screw It. We're just going to talk about comics. Ever since he booked Will and Kevin. And
I've only stopped because I have too many comics to read to catch
in no
up.
way, shape, or form am saying that is not a great show because I've listened to it and I don't even read comics and I really enjoyed it. It's a really great show. But Micah won't shut up about comics now.
It's all I don't read books anymore.
He doesn't.
I just sit in the mornings I get up and I read like 2 or 3 comic books, and then at night I'll read like 2 or 3 comic books, and throughout the day I might read 2 or 3 comic books.
No.
So it's
And it's not even it's not that I don't like comics. I like comics. I've read some.
well, you haven't gotten into it, you know?
That's the
the
thing.
difference.
That's the difference. And you just won't stop talking about it. However, I do sympathize with the feeling because I talk to you about true crime way too much.
Actually, you are not doing it as much. You
Well,
only do
I
it.
think I got better because you can feel when someone's not interested in
Yeah.
what you're talking about. So I think I've gotten better at it. But there are some times where it's like, I don't care if you're not interested in this. I gotta verbally get this out and tell someone else that this thing happened in the world.
Well, and
Same with you and talking to me about comics.
I know, and now I try to only present it to you in a way that is like, oh, this is about stories, and this is what's in like.
And you'll
this is-
always get my attention that way.
yeah, like as someone who loves stories, which I know you do, like this is an interesting thing that this comic does. But I do
And I'm
try
not
and
telling
keep
you
it
to
to
stop
myself.
talking to me about it.
I know that. But I also understand I still talk about it too much. If I could shave off like another 20% of talking about it. But I mean, if there's anyone out there that really
Mike, I need someone to talk to.
I need someone to talk to about comic books, maybe have a little reading club or something, because I've just been reading and I don't have a way to get it out.
Yeah. You need to talk to Scott and Jason. You need to get into their Zoom somehow.
But I mean, yeah, it's been a year of highs for our podcast.
Yeah.
And we've had a ton of it's crazy because when we started Patreon, patreon.com/MICAHMCCAW, I thought what we did is we combined our podcast, my music, and Jordan's art. And I thought that my music would be the main thing that people would come to that Patreon for.
Yes.
But it's interesting that most people who have signed up, they at least get started because they're interested in hearing more podcast episodes.
Yeah.
And then they might be like, oh, you know what? I like Micah's music as well, so I'm going to sign up for a higher tier so I can get the music in addition to the podcast episode. And that's so cool.
It is.
Because we're obsessed with movies, and you guys are obsessed with movies too, and we have this nice little community over there where people are into talking about the 1966 Batman movie. You know?
It's cool.
It's really awesome. And thank you everyone who has signed up. And, and everyone who hasn't.
Yeah.
Because either way, it's supportive. And all the people who've written iTunes reviews, we have much more of those now. And hopefully we'll get even more. But it seems like we're a true indie podcast. And we are slowly building and building and building. And people talk about it to us, and it's great.
Yeah.
What were some of your highlights of this last year of podcasting?
I do think, like, finally talking about the Dark Knight trilogy, I feel like a lot of starting the podcast was just like, hey, when are we going to talk about that?
Which just ended last Friday.
It did. Before that, don't care. Just kidding. That was a big one for me just because it is like, that's kind of what got me into movies.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like when we started to like, when are we covering Lord of the Rings? You know?
Which we also covered this last year.
So that's like a big deal. And I know that I'm not as big of a Star Wars fan as you are, but it's like, you know, it's like, okay, when are we going to cover that?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Because those are like the big ones. So that's really cool. And like you said with the guests, it's been really fun.
Yeah.
I think talking with Rachel Quirky.
Oh yeah, Rachel Quirky Shank.
Yes, that's the last name.
Yeah, she was awesome. We got
that
to
was
have
a
her
very
back.
fun episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just great because nobody likes Batman and Robin, and it seems like we're the 3 people in the world that like that movie.
It was very fun.
But yeah, covering all the Batman stuff has been fun. It actually has been less exhausting than I was expecting it.
Yeah, I think me too.
We haven't got to the
Val Kilmer one almost killed me, but
yeah. But I
other
mean,
than
I
that-
like I'm watching the animated series as well. Like I can't get enough of Batman.
yeah. I know I've read Batman comics since covering Batman.
Yeah. It's kind of
Well,
I kind of
yeah.
thought that by the time we were done I'd be like, "Okay, I don't need any more Batman."
For a while.
But
yeah.
now I'm like, "Give me that Robert Pattinson movie. I want to watch it right now."
Yeah,
Like
I
I'm
think
ready to
it
go.
has warmed me up to that coming out a little bit more than when I originally heard of it altogether. Was like,
Yeah.
ugh,
Well,
again?
what is fun about that character, I think, is that he is pretty adaptable because we've enjoyed so many different versions of that character. And I think it's the Pattinson one is more concerning that it might just be more of the same.
Yeah.
If it's different, even if it's bad different, it's still like, well, at least they tried.
Yeah.
Like BVS, it's a really bad version of Batman, but it's like, it's an attempt at something.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm done with Batfleck now.
Uh-huh.
But
You still haven't finished the Zack Snyder cut. Are you going to?
I have 1 hour left.
You need to just do it.
I do. It's funny because I watch, so there's 6 parts of the movie, and then there's an intro or a prologue and an epilogue. I watched the prologue episodes 1, 2, and 3, and I was like, wow, I really hate this. This is not for me. And then I watched 4, and I was like, this is cool.
Mhm.
This was like,
It's like 3 hours to get there, but yeah.
yeah, that was cool. And then I was like, you know what? Because I started on our TV, and then I moved to the computer and watched it while I was working.
Uh-huh.
And then when I saw part 4, I was like, you know what? This has been upgraded back to the TV. I want to like watch this because that was cool. So then I watched part 5, and it was awful, and I hated it. And so it's like, I don't know. Maybe
It's
I
just
should
one
just
more
watch
hurdle.
it at work.
Yeah, you just should do it.
I mean, we will talk a lot about that. Our Justice League episode is going to be so long, and I hope you're prepared for that, Jordan.
I'm not yet.
You might have to like pause and go away
Yeah.
for like a half hour so I can just talk. But gosh, the Superman is just, it's a shame.
Yeah.
He's not a good guy, really.
What do
in
you
a
think
lot of
about the
ways.
casting, though?
I think Henry Cavill's
good.
great.
Yeah, I think he is too.
I mean, the casting of that series, like Gal Gadot,
Yeah, yeah,
she's awesome. I think if the script was better, I think Ben Affleck would be awesome.
really.
I think that he's really cool and good, but they don't give him any levity, and it's like a poorly written Batman.
Yeah,
And I was lukewarm on Jeremy Irons as Alfred,
yeah.
but the Zack Snyder Justice League made me like his Alfred a lot more.
They get to spend more time with what's going on with him.
Yeah, and he kind of gives him a hard time, which I always like when Alfred's kind of like, Batman, come on. Bruce
Yeah.
Wayne, come on.
And when
I like
inside Alfred's like, this is so fun. I'm
Yeah.
the butler to Batman.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that has definitely been an improvement. This is our second year. What are we talking about that for?
I don't know.
No. I think our best series maybe ever happened last year or on our podcast, which is Unbreakable.
Oh.
I think that's our best series.
Yeah.
We research galore. We watch those movies galore, and that was
We bore our souls over it, how
Yeah.
good it is, and how it just makes me so emotional
Yeah.
watching. It just M. Night is just so good. He's so good.
we're pretty close to his new movie coming out
I
too.
know, I'm
We're
so
like 2 months
excited.
away.
Yeah.
I hope the theaters are open because I do not
know.
want to watch that at home.
Yeah.
But this you should know, listener, is our next series, our kickoff to our 3rd year, the Before trilogy. We've recorded it all. And I can honestly tell you, I think it's one of our best series. And it's in contention for our best, for sure. I think it is like...
You
As-
listen to people talk about movies where all people do is talk.
It's so good.
It's
and
great.
And So I think the series I've spent the most time researching is probably Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Because there's so much to
Yeah.
research, and I love it so much. But I think if we go like percentage-wise on what's possible to learn,
Yeah.
I think I have researched the most on the Before trilogy. I watched documentaries and Q&As and like all the special features. I mean, I really dove in, and I love that series. So, I mean, if you were thinking of skipping it, please don't skip it. It's so good. But yeah, thank you for being a fan. We love you guys, and I hope you weren't too disappointed that we blew through Land Before Time 2.
Well, let's decide what next movie we're gonna do for the next anniversary.
Oh boy,
Just as a little dangling carrot for everybody.
what do you think?
I think it should be something fun.
Fun, something that doesn't have a sequel.
And that doesn't have a sequel.
Uh-huh.
Do you have any ideas?
Well, I think about There Will Be Blood and Interstellar, but those are not fun.
No. They not fun in the way that I'm meaning.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, because it's been on the brain a lot lately,
Okay.
Scott Pilgrim.
Scott Pilgrim
Yeah.
versus what?
Oh, the world.
Scott Pilgrim versus the world?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay.
One of the most perfect movies ever made. And I am so bummed that it's been re-released and kind of like, isn't it been like like the sound is way better.
They like remastered the sound.
The looks, I think it looks way better. I think there's something with that, but I think it's mostly the sound. They're showing it in LA right now.
And
like
I think New York as well.
10-year anniversary.
Yeah.
And I'm just so bummed that we can't
Or 15.
see it.
It's the 15-year
That's right.
anniversary.
Very bummed we can't see it because we don't live in those places.
Yeah.
And it's just one of my favorite movies ever. And it's one where I can just watch it and I'm never tired of it.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Okay, let's do it.
I think we owe it to ourselves to do a fun one and not do something that it's like, we said we were going to do this thing and we have to do it.
Yeah.
It's our birthday.
And I'll give you another dangling carrot. Now I'm talking calendar year. I'm not talking
Podcast year?
No, I'm talking about our podcast year.
Okay.
So in the next year, before May 17th, I'm going to promise you that we're going to cover Fast and Furious, listeners.
Okay.
We're going to do it. Because that is the most requested series that we've ever had.
It's time.
And then maybe calendar year, we might knock out Star Wars. I'm not sure. But we actually have episodes planned until February at this point. We have
2022?
Of 2022.
Yeah.
But what's also cool is we're finally going to be covering a new release when Black Widow comes out.
Uh-huh.
So we have Black Widow, The Eternals, and Spider-Man on the calendar. So go see the movie the weekend it comes out. And I think, at least with Black Widow, they're releasing it on Disney if you're not able to go to the theaters.
You have to pay for it, though, right?
You do.
Yeah.
So they're doing that. So the Friday that comes out, you get the weekend, you even get the week to get the chance to watch it. And then the next Friday, we'll be coming out with our Black Widow episode. So that'll be fun. I've for 2 years, I've been wanting to catch up to a series to where we can cover new releases. And it took us a year to get through Marvel. And then the world shut down and they haven't been able to release a movie in over a year.
They're letting us catch up. That's why COVID is happening.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to be covering that because they're starting to get into really unique territory.
Yeah.
Because they're starting to cover characters like the Eternals. Nobody cares about the Eternals. Nobody's even a fan of the Eternals. So what the heck is that movie going to be like?
That's the one with Kumail.
Yeah.
Cool.
Directed by Chloe Zhao.
That's right. Yeah.
So I think it's going to be awesome, but it's also like there aren't really fans of this, so they could do whatever they want.
Yeah.
They're like, I mean, if Iron Man was a B character, they're like C or maybe even D characters.
So with like Guardians being a thing, because I didn't know about Guardians at all.
Yeah.
Until they made a movie of it, but I know that there is a fan base for that. Do you think there was still a lot of pressure on that?
Well,
because it feels more like a cult favorite.
So the pressure on Guardians was these are like no one mainstream knows who Guardians of the Galaxy are.
Yeah.
And this is the first time well,
I guess there was a show, you said.
An animated show.
Yeah.
I think that came out after the movie.
Oh, okay.
So basically, like, Iron Man was a B-list
Right.
hero, but people knew he was, but mainstream didn't know. So that was a huge risk starting it that way. But then, you have your Spider-Man, you have Captain America, Thor, like, people know who they are. But even still, that's kind of tough. But then with Guardians, it's like we are choosing heroes that no one knows who they are. So we have to introduce them and we have to get them to fall in love with them.
Yeah.
That's why it's such a miracle. And they are now like mainstream, like A-list
Yeah.
heroes. Everyone knows who the Guardians are.
Do you think if Guardians didn't go well, they maybe would have not have done Eternals?
I think absolutely they wouldn't
Yeah.
have done it.
Yeah.
I think they would have taken a lot less risks than they have
Yeah.
without Guardians succeeding. And I think if Eternals fails, that's going to be bad.
Yeah.
And Shang-Chi is also, he's like a C or a D-list hero. I've read 2 comics with him in it.
And does he pop up in Daredevil? Or my
He has this, I don't really know anything about
Oh,
him.
okay.
I
Okay.
just, when I read the whole like Civil War run, he
Yeah.
was in it.
Yeah.
But I didn't really dig that part of it.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
that doesn't mean he's a bad character. I mean, sometimes,
So sometimes there are bad issues of characters.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a huge risk where they're headed. And when they announce their new slate, it's like, there's no Iron Man listed. They are going to make a Captain America 4 with Anthony Mackie, but that wasn't like on their slate because I'm sure they're just like starting to write it and stuff.
Sure.
But what is coming next is this is like they're cashing in a lot of blank checks because they've made the biggest movies in the world. And I'm hoping people show up even if they're not that good because it'll keep them being creative and weird.
I feel good about it. I think part of it is because during the phase where I didn't really like Marvel and they just wouldn't stop coming out with movies about them.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh, we already know who Captain America is. Of course, I've since changed.
Of course, yeah.
But with all of these new ones who I've never even heard of, I am more excited about that kind of stuff.
It is exciting.
Yeah.
And okay, maybe are we pretty much done?
Yeah.
Okay, what movie are you most excited for of Marvel?
Well, Guardians 3.
Oh, well, yeah, me too, but let's exclude that. Of the like unknown movies.
Okay, wait. That Jason Isaacs one is a show, right?
Jason Isaacs one.
Who's Jason Isaacs?
Jason Isaacs is
I'm thinking of Oscar Isaac.
Oh yeah,
Who's
that's
Jason Isaac. That's Lucius Malfoy.
yeah.
Okay, no, Oscar Isaac.
That's Moon Knight. That's going to be a TV show.
I am really excited for that because of what
Yeah.
you showed me because you read
I read
a run.
Cool Run 2014 would highly recommend to
I would
people.
say I'm most excited for that currently. But
Yeah.
if I had to say a movie, I'm into Shang-Chi.
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 The trailer looked awesome.
Because my expectations are pretty high that the action will be crazy.
Yeah. I think that's a great pick.
Yeah.
I'm most excited about Fantastic Four because they need to do it
Oh.
right finally, and they're in good hands. But of the unknowns,
Who have they casted for that? Have they announced anything?
no announcements. The only thing
I'm so
is
curious about that.
the guy who's directed the Spider-Man movies is doing it, John Watts. And
okay.
Yeah, and
the Tom
like
Holland one.
I think he'll be able to get the family tone of Fantastic Four.
Who did the original Fantastic Four?
Tim Story.
Who's that?
I don't know really.
That sounds familiar.
But
Are those bad movies?
Yes.
I loved them when I was a kid.
they're bad.
Okay.
It's funny though
I
because
loved them.
they had a resurgence on Twitter the other day where people were like, these movies aren't actually that bad. And then there's a lot of people that are like, let's not make this one of those movies that we defend. Like,
The
these are
internet
bad
responds,
movies.
just cool it.
Yeah. We're allowed to think some
No,
movies
we're
are
not
bad.
going to ask for that cut.
Yeah. Yeah, Fantastic Four, I think I'm most excited for. And I gotta say, Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
I am very anxious to see that. I
Yeah.
think that will be maybe the most heartfelt of all of the Marvel
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah.
Because that'll be, and that's supposed to come out next year.
Yeah.
That'll be really good.
And what is going on with that? So are they?
They're not recasting T'Challa, Mr.
How does that work?
I don't know. That's why.
Oh, okay.
But like they announced the title last week, Wakanda Forever, instead of Black Panther 2, and that to me feels like, oh, this movie's going to be all about like Chadwick Boseman. Like it'll be about his passing and like a new Black Panther.
Yeah.
And I think I think it'll just be very,
Everyone's just gonna be crying the whole time.
very earnest. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if his sister became Black Panther. I don't know Black Panther comics.
Yeah.
But the girl who has all the gadgets and stuff.
Her or the girl that was the woman that was like his bodyguard. I can't remember like what their role specifically is besides that, but she would be awesome. She's so cool.
Well, it's just like the first Black Panther is so heartfelt and kind of makes you want to cry at the end.
Not kind of. It does.
Yeah. but now with this and also I just feel like they wouldn't. I feel like there's no way it's not going to be a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Because it has to be a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Or else everyone's going to be pissed.
Now people who are still listening to this crazy episode are just listening to a normal everyday conversation that we have, which means when the podcast is over, we generally don't stop talking about movies.
Well, thank you for listening.
Thank you so much.
We love you guys. We hope you enjoyed this rambly, crazy second year celebration. Next year, I'm sure we're going to grow more. I'm sure we're going to have even more patrons and more fun on Patreon. And a quick reminder, once we get to 50 patrons, we're going to launch a second Patreon-only show in addition to the regular Patreon show. So you'll have 2 exclusive episodes a month, and we're going to cover all Pixar movies, the ones we haven't covered yet, even if they don't have sequels. So we're not close to that goal, but we are.
We're like about halfway.
We're about halfway. So, $3 a month. Come on.
Yeah.
For more episodes. And we're just going to keep launching shows until the sun explodes. All right. Later this week, it's Before Sunrise. Be there or be square. That's our new sign off for this whole next year. Be there or be square.
Hey, I'm holding you to that.
I'll forget by the next episode.
Me
See you
too.
later.